Welcome to SourceCAD. In this video, Paul Mohinde will show you the step-by-step method of converting a 2D AutoCAD drawing into 3D Revit drawing like this one. Essentially, in this video, we'll start with importing a PDF plan view into AutoCAD, and then we'll make the 2D drawing and transfer it over to Revit. Then we'll learn to link the CAD drawing directly in a different Revit project. We'll also learn to import and modify 2D AutoCAD drawing into Revit using Dynamo, and finally we'll wrap it all up with importing the 3D model from Revit back to AutoCAD. So with that, let's get started.
So into my PC, I'll basically launch the folder where I have my document, and to make it more interesting, I'll be starting with a PDF. So we'll move from a PDF then to a CAD drawing, basically a 2D CAD drawing. Then from that, I'll show you how to integrate it using Revit to come up with a 3D drawing. So I'll basically share this folder or this file with you down in the description. So I'll be running it using Bluebeam. So once launched, this is the file that we're going to be using. We have a floor plan here, just a basic and simple floor plan that we have here, where we have our entrance, our veranda, our living room, dining room, kitchen, pantry, our corridor here, or the common area. Then we have a toilet, bathroom, bedroom 1, bedroom 2, study room, and master bedroom with a WC. So this is basically a 2D drawing, as you can clearly see. We do not have any 3D. We do not have the Z component. So what we want to do, we want to come up with a 3D component, which actually helps our clients and our investors to understand the type of design that you're working on. On this other hand, we have our elevation. So this is a west elevation. Well, this other hand on the right side, we have our east elevation. So we're going to be working with one of the elevations so that I can show you how practical we use these elevations when it comes to converting your drawing into 3D. So having said that, I'll just simply jump into our AutoCAD software. So I'll be running AutoCAD. From AutoCAD, I'll start a new drawing. So I assume you already know how to use AutoCAD, but if you don't know, no worries, check down in the description. I've linked a free AutoCAD course that you can be able to learn today, as well as a premium course that you can use. So I've already started a new drawing. So right now it's just a new drawing. It's not saved. And I'm going to check on my units. So UN, hit on enter. So in this drawing, I want to make sure that I'm using millimeters with a precision of 0. Because in this drawing or in this video, we'll be focusing mainly on metric system. But everything else remains the same if you're using the imperial system. So no issue whatsoever. I'll simply click on OK. Then I'll just simply navigate and save this blank drawing into the area where I want. So in this case, I'll be saving it under SourceCAD. So I'll just save it under documents. So I'll be saving it at the name I prefer, but you can always save it the way you want. So SourceCAD 2D AutoCAD DWG into 3D Revit for ease of remembering on my side. So I'll save. So you'll clearly see that it has been updated down here as well as up here with a file with a folder destination. The next thing that we want to do is to import now our PDF. How to do this? It's very simple. Simply navigate to the Insert tab, and under this panel, we'll find the Import panel. We want to import a PDF. So just simply click on this and you'll navigate where you have saved that specific drawing. In our case, we have it saved here, so I'll just simply click on it and we'll be given a quick preview over here. Remember, if you had multiple pages, you can just simply select the page that you want after clicking open. But because we just have one page, it's not an issue. I'll just simply click on open. So from here is where we'll have multiple pages if you had a drawing with multiple pages, but for our case, it's just one, total 1. The file name is here, but you can always change again by just clicking here and just selecting a different file. And you can change how it's been displayed. If you want to be shown small description or previews, you can use that one or use this one, that it's more clear and more full. So on this other side, we have different types of settings that I'll be showing you how to do it. So basically the location is where to place it on screen. So we can either specify the insertion point on screen by checking on this button, or if you uncheck it, it's simply going to be imported from 00, which is the original origin. And then under it, we have the PDF data to import. So for our case, we have vector geometry, and we can use solid fields, or if you have your cursor, you'll just simply see a description which says it imports 2D solid field, and under this we have true type text. So in the event that we have some text that can be converted, it can be imported from here. And if you were working with images or photos, you can simply check on this, but for our case we are not working with photos, they're just basically vectors. And then we can import the PDF layers in the event that you have layers in your PDF. For this case we do have layers, so we're gonna be using this one. Or you can create object layers later on in the video, but let's just choose the basic one to keep it simple and straight to the point. Under the import options, we can either import it as a block, so it will connect everything, but I don't prefer using this. Let's just have them separate like so, and then we can join lines and arc segments in the event that we have broken lines. So let's leave this unchecked. We can also convert solid fields to hatches in the event that you had solid fields. So for our case, we can uncheck that so that each and everything will remain as is. We can also apply the lane weight properties. So in the event that we have different lines with different line weights, we can check on this. But for my case, I don't need this for now. And the last one, you can also infer the line types for the core linear dashes. So we're going to leave it like that. And then we're going to check the page size over here. And you can also check on more options by clicking here. But for our case, we already see the scale is okay. So this is the scale that we're using, and we are satisfied. Just simply click on OK. So down here, it's simply importing, and just like that, it's already done. So let's just zoom in. We see what is the measurement that we have here. So we have 5535 millimeters. So let's just simply type in DI on our keyboard so that we can confirm what we have here. So this is 1. This means that the distance is 1. Let's check our units. So the units is millimeters, so we just need to scale it up. To scale it up is not a problem. Just simply open a dashed window, select from left to right like so. The other side is a full window, but we want a dashed window like so. So select everything and we want to scale it up. To scale it up is rather simple. Navigate to the Home tab. Under the Modify panel, you'll find this Scale command. So click on this once, select the base point. So in this case, we can use this side here, so our base point can be simply here. And then down here, make sure you don't select anything. Down here you'll find this option. We want to use the reference, so click on reference, zoom out a bit, then click there, the first point, the second point. If you don't know what to do, always make sure to confirm from the command line. So second point, and then we're going to import, or we're going to key in the information. So we want it to be 5535. Hit on enter. Double click your center wheel mouse button to zoom extends, then run again the distance command DI, hit on enter. Let's just measure any other place just randomly. So let's just measure this point here to that point. It's 608. So it seems that we are not quite far off. It's more or less accurate. Let's do it again. So I'll hit on enter to repeat the same command from that point to that point. That's 150. You can just take another random place again, just to make sure that everything is okay. So from this point here up to this point, it's 1935. So I confirm maybe over here there's an issue with the dimension, or it was rounded up using the settings. So we are satisfied with this 2D. So now let's check what we need before now taking it to our 3D software. So we have to make sure that our drawing is clean. We don't need unnecessary items. For this case, we have this item here like furniture. We don't need furniture. So I can clearly see that it's block. So if I was just to zoom out so that I turn off, I want to see what has been selected. So just to simply delete this, it's quite easy. Just select one of the items, right click, simply go to select similar, zoom out, then simply hit on E on your keyboard to activate the erase command, then hit on enter, and just like that they are deleted. Over here we have some remain, so I'm going to select, right click, select similar, zoom out just to make sure everything selected is okay, then hit on E on your keyboard, hit on enter, and just like that they have been erased. So over here we have another item that has remained, right click, select similar again, just E on your keyboard, erase. So you're just simply cleaning our drawing. So I don't need all these elevations. I just want one elevation that will help me with placing our drawing, and I'll actually use the eastern. So let's do away with the rear. So I'll make sure I just select the rear up to there. Also this text here, I don't need that. I don't need this west elevation. So be careful when you're selecting these items so that you don't double select. Also this text here, I don't need it. So I can simply select that. I can simply zoom in to increase my accuracy up to there. Over here we have some loose text. So select, make sure you're careful when selecting these items. Select all that. I don't need this plan view. I don't need these items here. So over here I'll show you how we're going to be selecting later on, just to make it easier. You can simply use this full window so that everything that is selected there, only the items covered there will be selected. For our case, this grid was not fully covered, that's why it was not selected. Then hit on E on your keyboard, enter to erase. The next thing that we don't need, I don't need this section marker because we are not working with sections for now. So I'm going to just simply select, and then E to erase. So we are just cleaning up our drawing. We don't need to export items that we don't require. The same with dimensions. I honestly don't need dimensions when we are taking it to Revit, or we can just leave it. That's not an issue. We can just leave it. And then I think everything is okay. We don't need this text here. So I'm going to simply select on it, then just simply erase. So now everything is all right. I am satisfied with what I have. So we can just simply save. After saving, we need to make sure we save or reselect our origin point so that it will become easier when we are working in Revit. And to select our origin is rather easy. Select on this Cartesian plane that we have on our bottom left hand corner. Hover your cursor over this square, then just simply go to move origin only. So you can move origin and align. You can move the world or origin only. So for our case, we're just focusing on origin. So select on this and just select where you want to place your origin. For our case, I want to place it at this bottom left hand corner. Once I click on here, it has already moved. Then when I hit on escape, the only thing remaining is just to now save our drawing. Once saved, I'll simply close. Then I'll jump into our Revit software so that we can be able to link our CAD document and come up with our 3D model. Alright, so in this case, I'll be showing you how to link your CAD document in Revit. In this case, we'll be using the Autodesk Revit 2023. So once you have run your software, we're going to simply go to create a new model. So if you want to learn how to use Revit, I've linked down in the description a completely free Revit course and a premium course that you can be able to use to move from a student or an amateur to a professional if you're interested to advance your career. And you'll also get a certificate once you complete the course. So I'll simply click on new. I'll select the template that I prefer. In this case, we can either use a construction, architectural, structural, so on and so forth. But let's just focus on architectural because it's just an architectural drawing that we are working on. And then I'm going to simply check on a new project, then simply click on OK. So just a few seconds for our Revit software to load up the templates for our project. So at the top here, we can clearly see that it's project 1, floor plan 0. So these are basically what usually comes right off the bag with our Revit software, which I really like. They have created a template that we can be able to use to understand how our project is. And in this case, I'll just simply first save my drawing. So I'll simply go to File. Under File, I'll click on Save, and I'll navigate to the folder where I want to save my drawing. So in this case, I'll just be saving it as source code 2D AutoCAD DWG to 3D Revit. So in this case, I can just put 23 because this is a 23 version. And then I'll just check on my options of the number of maximum backup. I just want to work with 1. I'll click on OK. I'll make sure that the file type is under .rvt because this is the Revit file. Then I'll simply click on Save. So once that's done, you'll simply see that at the top here, we have our file saved and everything is all right. So now what simply remains is just to bring in our CAD document. To do that is rather simple. Simply navigate to Insert. Under the Insert tab, you'll find various options. So you can either import CAD, but remember, it's not going to be linking that CAD. So this simply means in the event that maybe the architect goes back to the CAD drawing and makes a change, is not going to simply be updated automatically in our Revit file. So I highly advise you always use the link option. Link your CAD files, link your Revit files, link your IFC files. Always link rather than just import. So we're going to be using the link card. So simply click on this once. It's going to pop up this place and it's going to go to where we had already saved our drawing. And down here we have some options that we can check. For the colors, we can use inverse, so we can inverse our colors, we can invert our colors rather, or we can use black and white. But I prefer to use the colors that we are already set in our AutoCAD drawing. And under that, we have other options such as layers and levels. So you can either import all the layers that you have or all the levels that you have. If it's having the Z axis, you can import all of them, but for our case you can just leave them as all because we want to import everything. And then under the units, we're going to import either by auto detect or by millimeters or meters. So for our case, because we are using millimeters, let's just specify millimeters. But sometimes Revit is so smart, it's going to auto detect the units that you're using. Under the positioning, this is where we were checking or moving the Cartesian plane. So make sure you use auto origin to internal origin so that they match up with the Revit's origin and the AutoCAD origin. And then if you're working with different levels, let's say a multi-story structure, you can specify the level that you want to place your specific drawing at. But for our case, because we're at level 0 and we just have a simple bungalow house, we're going to just be using level 0. Make sure to check to orient to view, and then you can correct lines that are slightly off axis. Once that's done, simply click on open. Just a few seconds and it will be linked. And if we zoom out, we'll see that we have imported our floor plan plus our elevation plan. So I want to show you how we can be able to correct this in our CAD software, and it will update in our Revit software. So we do not need to have these two at the same place. We need the floor plan separate and the elevation separate. So I'll just simply go back to our AutoCAD software, launch our drawing that we had here. So this is the way it looks like. I'm going to just simply zoom out. I want to move this elevation to a new drawing itself. So I'll simply hit on Control N on my keyboard to create a new drawing using this template. So this is a template that I'm using. Hit on open. A new drawing is created here. I'm going to simply use UN to check my units, millimeters, precision 0. Hit on OK. Control V just to paste my drawing. Press, and then I'll simply give my insertion point 0. And then I'll just simply double click. Then once that's done, I'll simply go back to my main drawing here. I'll select what I have here, then Control X because I want to cut it, then move to this other drawing, then Control V. So you can also use the paste options that we have here, but just Control V will also do. Specify the insertion point 0, 0, enter. Then just simply double click your center wheel mouse button to zoom extends, then DI just to make sure we measure our distance. So we have 5537. I believe that these settings that were used here, they were rounding all our values up to 0 or 5. That's why you can see everything 0 or 5. I like that. And then once satisfied, now let's simply save this by first moving our origin. So we can move this, just click there, move it there, then Control S to save. So I'm going to be using this same name, but at the end here, I'll be using elevation. EL will do for elevation, and then I'll update. Then I'll simply go back to this other drawing. I'll simply move again the origin. So this is the origin that we have here. I'll just make sure I just place it there again. Once that's done, Control S to save. Then I can simply close from these two drawings that I have. So let's jump to Revit. We see how things look like. So in Revit, we're going to simply go to our Manage tab. So Manage. Under Manage tab, we're going to simply go to Manage Links. Under this, we're going to simply go to CAD Formats, select this, then simply click on Reload. So click on OK, and just like that, you see it has been updated by removing the elevation. So now let's move this CAD drawing inside here within our elevation markers that we have. To do that is rather simple. Make sure you uncheck this pin because this pin pins our CAD drawing in place that it cannot move. So I'll just simply move it and place it around here. And then I'm going to just choose my down arrow key on my keyboard to nudge it down. so that it will be in place just like so. I like the way it looks like. Everything looks good. I'll just select it, then pin it either by using this option here or by keying PN on my keyboard to pin it down. So just like that, we have imported our 2D drawing to our 3D software. For the next step, it's rather simple. So we want to go to our elevation so that we import our elevation 2D drawing. To navigate to elevation is rather simple. Go here to elevation under project browser, click on this. Remember it's east, so double click on this. Then I'm going to simply zoom out. The height here is quite high for a residential house, so let's use 3000 millimeters or 3 meters. If you prefer 10 feet in imperial, I want to change the scale to make it a bit fine. 1:50. Then simply go to manage tab, so you can either link your drawings by using manage, then go manage links, and then under manage links you can use add, or alternatively the method that I've shown you, go to insert, go to link card, then specify elevation. So we're gonna simply drag that, select on that. All the settings remain the same. Click on open, and just like that, right now it's way up, so we want to fine tune how it looks like. To do that, select on it, uncheck this for unpin, and right now we cannot be able to select the layers. So to be able to select the layers, you can either delete or you can be able to explode the layers. So if you explode the layers, in some options we have this option, you can be able to explode the layers so that you can be able to select one by one, but it's not an issue. You can just simply drag and drop. So I can try to eyeball it, or we can use the align command, AL on your keyboard. Select where you wanna, what's your benchmark. So this is our benchmark versus this is now our target. Select on that. Just like that, we have locked it in place. I'll just select this, just pin it in place so that it does not move. So this is just a 2D drawing. Remember that we can either detach it if we do not want it, or we can be able to edit it in our CAD software and it will be updated here in real time as well. Okay, so once that's done, I want to show you also how to do the same thing using Revit 2024. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this. So I'll simply click on save, then I will close from this project. Okay, so now in our Revit 2024, it's still the same thing. I'll simply go to the new area, select what we want to work with. In this case, we can still go with the same thing, architectural template, click on project, click on OK. So once our project has been created in our Revit 2024, we're going to simply save the design. So we're going to simply save our project, and to do that is rather simple. Just click on save and save it to where you want to save. So in this case, I'll be saving it under this folder with this name, SourceCAD 2D, AutoCAD DWG into a 3D Revit 24. But remember, you can always change how you want to save it depending on the project that you're working on. I'll click on save. So that's done. The next thing, I just want to change my view because it's very white. I want to use this dark theme. So after that, now let's start to insert or bring in our CAD. So the question is, can we be able to link the same CAD document into a different Revit project? So let's see. We're going to simply go to our floor plan using the same command that we were using last time. Click on open, and just like that, it has brought this drawing into our Revit software. So the answer is correct. You can be able to link your CAD documents into various Revit documents, thus making designing as a team easier, especially when you're sharing a working folder. So this is how our DWG looks like. The next thing, now let's bring our elevation, and in this case, this elevation should actually be on the western side, not on the eastern side. So let's first correct this elevation up to 3000 or 3 meters or 10 feet. I'll right click, zoom extends so that it matches down with the floor plan. Right click again, then maximize your 3D extends, then go back to link in your CAD, select elevation. We want to place it at level 0, click on open, and then we're gonna just simply align. So click on this CAD and pin AL on your keyboard, or simply use the align command from the modify tab that we have here, then select the base or the benchmark. So this is a benchmark here. Then select the level that you want to place it. So this is a line like so. So we need to create a new level here. So I'll simply go to architecture, click on level, or double click on the L key on your keyboard to click on level. So it's going to be 600 or 2 feet, or if you prefer 0.6 meters, then I'll just simply place it there. So it's on the opposite side, but no issue. Just simply select on this level, check on this bubble. I'm gonna scale it up so that everything becomes fitting just like that. Then I will lock it with this grid or that anchor that is given from this level. I'll select on this. I'll just simply extend this slightly and then uncheck the view or the name on this other side. So now we have level 2. Just double click to rename it as Plith, because that is the bottom level. Click away, rename all corresponding views. So you'll see that the name will be changed here, just like that. Level 0, you want to change it to ground floor. So ground level, so LVL dot. So that is the name that I'm going to be using. Level 1 will be just simply roof for this project because it's just a small project. Click away, change. Even this we can just put LVL dot, just to use the same system. And once we have done that, now let's start placing our walls. And to place our walls is rather simple. And if you don't want to see this, just simple, click on it, right click, go to hide in view, select elements, or simply just hit on EH on your keyboard and it will hide the element. That's the shortcut. Make sure to check down in the description the ebook that we have about our Revit keyboard shortcuts. So now let's start placing our walls. So simply go to the architecture tab, go to walls. So you'll find it under the build panel. So click on walls or use WA keyboard shortcut to activate it. So from here we have a long list of various type of walls that we can use. So in this case we can go with 200, but I will edit this type to create a new type of wall and I want it to be custom made. Let's just have a quick preview on how it looks like. So this is a view. So I want to make my very own. So always use duplicate. Do not change the existing one by going here. Just go to duplicate. We want to change this type. Let's say, just call it 200 concrete, like so. Then click on OK. Go to construction and edit the structure type. So we want to use 200. So if you wanted to change the material, you can always change from here by clicking on this ellipse, and you can select from here what you want. Let's say we want to go with masonry. So select masonry. You can even have the appearance, how it looks like, and then you can use even the render appearance. So check on render appearance, click on OK, and the wall type has been changed to masonry. So this is floor block. So you can change. If you don't want to use floor block, use high density, use the render appearance, click on OK, and once satisfied you can even add different layers or different finishes if you want, but I'm satisfied with that. I'll just rename this from concrete to masonry, then I'll simply click on OK. So you can also go through all these other settings if you prefer, but for my case I'm satisfied with that. I'll just change the function from retaining to exterior, and then I'll just simply click on OK. So once that's done, now let's start placing our walls. And to place our walls in Revit, it's really amazing. So you can have multiple options such as pick lines, or you can even pick faces. So for this case, let's use pick lines, and we're going to specify what are the boundary limits for our walls. What do I mean by this? What is the level that our walls will be starting from? So it's going to be starting from the ground level all the way up to the roof level. So if you do not specify the top constraint, it's going to go everywhere, or it's going to go 8 meters up or 8,000 millimeters up. We don't want that to happen. So make sure you specify your limits. So once that's done, now let's start clicking our walls. And let's select the location of the line. We want to use the face exterior. So this is a face exterior, completely exterior. So in the event that we click on this, our wall will be placed there. Can you imagine how easy this is? So we're just clicking and our wall is just being created in real time. It's really easy. For here, I'll just use a different command like pick or just draw using a line. So you can just hover your cursor here so that your line goes on the opposite side like that. So if you want it to go on the opposite side, you go outside. If you want to go inside, you put your cursor a bit inside. So just like that. So now let's place our walls. So over there it's an error, no issue, just click on undo and it will be undone. Very simple, like that. And then we're gonna come up and clean up our walls as you also place our grid lines. So like that. So working with Revit, it's rather fast and rather easy. It's actually a very, very sophisticated software that architects, engineers are using in the field to make work easier and designs to standard. So I implore you to make sure to learn how to use Revit by going through our course that we have linked in the description. So we have a premium course and we have a free course that you can always check it out and brush on your skills. Yeah, it's very important. So I'll just simply click there, and right now I'm satisfied. So what remains is I'll just be able to connect by myself. So over here we have wall, so I'll just hit on WA. I'll use now center line and I'll use line. So I'll just simply click on this point because it's snapping. That's the good thing with CAD. Hit on escape, already connected, just like that. Then another one over here from that point to that point, already connected. Then another one here. So these are actually half walls. Some of them are half walls. So I'll be showing you how we're gonna be cleaning them up, especially like this one. I'll just change to unconnected to 1 meter high, which is 1000 millimeters. So from that point to that point, from that point to that point, just like that. Now let's clean things up. Over here I want this to be also a half wall. So to do that is rather simple. I'll just simply go to modify. You can create a gap or a split, or I can just simply click on this and just simply move it all the way back like that. So moving all the way back is going to give us this error. So you can just simply unjoin so that it will become a separate element. So I can create a new wall for itself by just clicking on this, click on CS to create similar, and then just click from that point to that point. Just like that, it has been created. Or you can use the fillet or the trim corner. So click on that, just like that, it has trimmed, and then just unjoin elements so that we have that separate wall. CS keyboard shortcut to create similar, click on there, and now we have such a beautiful design. Now let's clean things up. Let's clean that one there. Let's clean this corner. So this is a very important command in Revit, the one that we are currently using to clean up your corners. So you just click on the corner that you want. Over here there's a gap, it's not an issue, just click on that grip, just bring it in, it will connect and become a full wall. The same with this, just click on that grip, bring it in on that dotted line, it will just connect everything. So for now I believe things are looking well. I want to change this to become a half wall of 1 meter, just like that. The same with this, I can just make it be a half wall, or I can actually, let's see what the architect did. They gave it as a wall, so I can use create similar from that point up to that point, and then I can just bring this one all the way in up to there. Then I'll simply connect this to the center, and just like that, it has cleaned things up. So I like the way things are looking. So now let's launch our 3D. So even before I go to the west view, let's just see in our 3D how things are looking up. So I'll just left click on this cube button so that I can be able to orbit around. And I like the way the building looks like. It's actually to standard. It's following the floor plan that we have. You can clearly see, and it looks good. So I'll just go back to my floor plan, WT on my keyboard, so that I have these two windows side by side, just like that. And now let's place our grid lines. So I'll go to architecture, grids, and now let's start from here. The good thing, it's already snapping. So the first up to around any point over there, then just select this, go to edit the property, make sure that we have two ends of this bubble. So if I zoom out, we have the top and the bottom. We're using alphabets, so use that, then use copy, and then it's gonna be so easy. So we're gonna copy from that point to that point. Is gonna be B, C, D1. So that's D1. We have to, I'll just simply undo so that it becomes easier for us. So I'll select this, hit on enter so that we continue with the copy from that base point, then E, then F, then G. And then just like that, we are done. Now let's click on this, create a copy of it from that point to that point, then just double click D1, capital D, then click away. So because the grid lines or the grid bubbles look really big, let's just make it fine or cleaned up or tightly packed by just changing our scale. Now it looks really good. And then I'll now create a similar one. So I'll click on this CS to create similar. Let's start on this side from that point to that point. You'll notice that it picks automatically from the last number that we're using. So I'll now specify 1, then use copy. So copy from that point to the next. I'll jump the one with annotations or alphabets. Then I'll go to the full numbers, making sure that I'm clicking at that point. You have to be careful regardless, yeah? Then I'll just go back up here, then select this, specify 2A, small a, then simply copy from that point to the next. It's gonna pick it up automatically. Then we can create a new copy also of this one from that point to that point and rename it as 3A. So that's how fast we actually are coming up with our 3D project. So once you have your CAD drawing coming up with your 3D project or model, it's rather fast. That's the power that we have in Revit. And it's actually a BIM software, so you can be able to integrate so many things inside here. Then why don't we place our doors? So simply use the doors here. So we're gonna just be using the basic ones that comes with the software just to make it easier and faster for this class. So I'll click on that first door. Let's change the type. I'll click on that, hit on escape, then change the type so that we place these others. Hit on tab on the space bar so that I can be able to rotate. Space bar, rotate. Over here, space bar, rotate there. Another one here, like so. Like that. So depending on the type of door, you can leave some space or just place it exactly at the wall so as to make installing your frame easier. So like that. You see how fast it is to place your doors and windows and walls in Revit. So this door, we need it to be a bit smaller. So something of the sort, like that. And then the emergency door for the kitchen, you're just gonna be placing it like that. So just like that, we are done placing our doors. So how do we place our windows? Because we cannot see our windows. So to do that, it's rather simple. Just simply go down here to the visual style, change it to wireframe, or just simply key in WR on your keyboard to activate the same shortcut. So now we can be able to see our windows. To place our windows, you either use WN on your keyboard or just click on that command and then specify the window that you want. So in this case, we want to place, let's say, a window here. We can check if the size is fitting. So we can just place that, and maybe just a couple of other windows are the same. Maybe this washroom window and the bathroom window here. And we have a corridor window here. So this is rather small and not a problem. Just go to edit type, duplicate. We can change it to maybe 600 by 600 millimeters. I'll do away with these two, click on OK, then just change the rough width here. And the good thing about this family, if you change one thing, it's gonna change the other thing automatically. Just like that, everything has been changed. Click on OK. And now if you try to place it, it's now 600. So it becomes easier for you to do your designs. I'll place that, then hit on escape, and then place now the big windows. So because of time, I'll just be placing just windows randomly, something of the sort, just to show you how we place our windows in Revit and making work easier and the design process rather seamless. So this is the way we place our windows, because right now we already know where exactly our windows are from the architect as they share this design. So I'll be using now the 600 by 600 and then placing it on this washroom. So any other place that it's missing, we can be able to place it later on in the video or adjust it to what the architect was prescribing. So right now we can be able to see how beautiful our structure has come up. So we can be able to orbit just like that. So let's now go to the western side. So I'll click on this side, then double click on west just to bring it here. And now let's try to align things up here. So AL on my keyboard, I want to align this specific wall. So this wall here to this wall here. So just like that, fits in perfectly. You cannot even say that we have a 3D structure behind it. So that's the power of Revit. You can clearly see how our structure looks like. Really, really beautiful. If I was to click on the right side, it fits in perfectly inside this specific model that we have. So what remains is just to do our roof. I'll guide you how to do it. Just simply go to roof level. Over here we have a look down, but if you don't want to have a look down, you can change it from here, but I prefer having it, especially because we were coming up with our roof. I'll change the scale to 50, then I'll simply go to roof, then I'll specify my exterior. So you can either use peak walls or peak lines. So I prefer using peak walls for now. Using an overhang or an eave of 2 feet or 600, I can define my slopes now, or I can define them later. So let's just use define slope, change the material of the roof that you prefer. Maybe just use this one for now. Then just click on that wall. So let's just select everywhere, and then we'll come and extend and trim things up in a good way. So this is a wall here. There's another wall there. So this is the power of Revit. Revit is a really, really powerful software. So make sure to learn it. So I'll clean things up here. I'm just tidying up my corners like so. So you have to be careful. In the event I click on this side, it will delete my roof or my extrusion line on this side. So if you want to select your corner, it's gonna give you a guided dashed line like so, and you're gonna know which side to select, just like that. Last place here. So I can fine tune things. Over here I don't need the slope to be here. It can be a gable. So this side hipped like so. I am satisfied with that. Then I'll make sure that the base is at level of the roof, just as we have specified. We can change the slope from 30 degrees to 15 so that it does not become very steep, but depends with the country that you are in and also the loads of the slope that you're working with. So just like that. How beautiful is that structure? Really, really beautiful. So the last thing that you can do, you can just simply drag your dashed lines. I'm not selecting my half walls, yeah? I'm selecting from top so that I go to filter, check none, select walls, click on OK, then select attach to base, then I'll attach to my roof. And just like that, that's the way our structure looks like. So we have managed to move from 2D to 3D, and everything looks perfectly fine and perfectly well. So the last thing is just placing our floor. You can go to plinth level. So this is the plinth level. I'll simply go to floor. Under the architecture, I'll click on floor. I'll specify the floor that we want to work with. I can just go with the ground bearing for now, and then I'll just simply select my walls. So I'll pick on walls again, this option here. So I'll select this wall, that wall. So this is basically the span direction of the reinforcement of the steel. In the event that we are doing the steel reinforcement, maybe using a BRC mesh for this structure. So just like that, we'll come back and trim our corners just as we did with the roof. So go back here, trim our corners like that, make it just well tight and fine inside here, just like that, making sure that every corner is connected, because if there's any gap, our Revit software will give us a warning. For example, if I try to check and over here we have this conflicting, we'll be given a warning that lines cannot intersect each other. So I'll simply go back to continue, click on trim corners, and just like that. So once that's done, I'll make sure that the level is at plinth. It can be room bounding so that we can place our rooms, and then I'll simply check. And just like that, we have our floor placed here. So it's at the plinth level, but I want it to be at the ground level. So it's very easy. Just change from here, move in, and it's already applied. Just like that. It's now applied. If you were to go to your Western view, you can be able just to see the same thing has been applied here. And you can also change the structure if you wanted to change from here. So let's say we are missing 120. So we can just add 120 here to become 270. Click on OK. But remember, don't change the original, just change the duplicate. So always create a duplicate. So the hardcore will be 270 in this case. So click on OK, click on Edit. Now change this to 270. Click on OK. So we have 600. Click on OK. Just like that, it fits in perfectly within this area, just like that. So that's the way we do it. That's the way we transform our 2D structure to our 3D model, just as you have seen. And if you wanted to place it on sheets, it's very simple. Over here we have a sheet. So I can just simply close all other inactive views by clicking on this. I'll close the West, so I'll be just left with this sheet. And when I select this sheet, it's currently empty. I can place my name here if I wanted to. And I can also just drag and drop what I want. Let's say I want to place my roof or my ground level. So I'll drag, drop, place it there. Just like that, we have our floor or our ground level. And if you don't want to see your CAD, it's very simple. So simply go to Manage, go to Manage Links, go to your CAD formats, and over here you have them being viewed. If you want to remove them completely, you just select from this link name, and then you can just say unload. So they are still in the project, but unloaded, in that you will not be able to see them. So I'll also unload, click on OK, just like that. They are still in the project, but you cannot be able to see them. So if you go back to Manage tab, you'll still find them here. You can just reload and they will be connected back and they'll be seen. Or alternatively, if you don't want to go through that specific process, you can just select on this specific CAD or the specific link that you have attached. Then you can right click, you can go to hide in view by elements, and just like that, they'll also be hidden. So there are various ways of doing what you prefer, and they're all correct, and depends with the one that you prefer. If you want to put your annotation, you can use aligned, use your walls, specify entire walls, then go to options. Even you can specify intersecting grid lines, openings, the width, click on OK. Then you can just simply select the whole wall and place your dimensions or your annotations of your dimensions like so. Working with Revit is rather simple and rather easy, and it makes work and design to be standard and very well presentable. So making even your projects being to standard or following a certain standard. So it's really good that I really encourage every single person to make sure to learn how to use Revit to make things easier for them. So if you're using, like, you want to place your grid lines, you can click them one by one, something of the sort, and it will be to standard. So I can just continue like that, and it will simply lock in place like that and place the overall grids just like that. And if I wanted to change my display of this, I can be able even to round them up, let's say to the nearest decimal or the 5th millimeter or the 0 millimeter, just to make sure that everything is cleaned up. So that's the way we do it. The only thing that I can do, I can just maybe give the title of this, maybe 2D to 3D. So I'll just be using the same name that we have been using like that. And I can just say maybe the owner of the project is, let's say in this case, you can name the company that you're working for. So you can give it like source code. I can even change the image of this specific title block. I can use the title block for the organization. And once satisfied, I can just simply print. So I'll simply navigate here, print. I can select maybe the current view window. or I can select multiple views from here, and then I can be able to export it. So let's just print this single document like so. You can specify the folder that you want, so I'll click on OK. So you can specify where exactly you want to save it. So for my case, I'll be saving it here. So I can just call it floor plan or ground floor. Depends on the system that you're using. It can be level 1 or can be ground floor. So in this case, I'll just be calling it ground level. Then I'll just simply click on save, and then it will print. So just like that, we have our drawing here. It's up to standard. It does everything that we need, and the presentation is really, really good. So in the event that you even wanted to change how the colors are looking, maybe shaded view, you can use shaded, and even you can come up with texture. So it depends with what you want. And you can also come up with maybe some cameras. So you can simply go here, camera, and then maybe just create a view from that point like so. And that's the way our structure is looking. Really, really, really beautiful. So that's the way it looks like. That's the entrance. That's the linked card. So remember, if you don't want to see this, you can just simply hit on VG on your keyboard so that you can hide your imported categories, all of them. You can hide everything, click on OK, and just like that, it's all gone. You can change the colors that you're working with. You can even make it fine, and you can even walk in your drawing so that just to make sure everything is okay. And I really like how it looks like. So this is how the building looks like. Here we have our kitchen, our pantry, we have our veranda, we have our WCs here, we have our bedrooms on this other side, we have a window to bring in the light. We have not placed our ceiling, but everything here is really good, and I really like it. It looks good. You can be able to change what you want later on, but we have done the bare minimum. So once satisfied, you can just simply close from this. So I want to show you another simple way that you can actually use Dynamo to bring in your document or your file to Revit and come up with what you need. So I'm going to be closing from this, and then I'll start a new project. So I'll close this. So you can either use Revit 2023 or still Revit 2024 with the same thing. So in this case, I'll be using architectural template. Click on OK, and I'll be saving this as source card 2D. So I'll be saving it as Dynamo under the Dynamo folder. Then I'll just simply change all this and then place the name here. So it depends on how you want to save it. So I'll change the options to 1 for backup. Click on OK, click on save. So after saving our project, the next thing that we need to do is just to link our card drawing. So how to do this? Simply go to Insert, use Link Card, then specify the specific document that we're using. So this is a floor plan. You can use the same commands, or you can even change some items that you prefer. Even if like the positioning, you can specify manually. Let's say manual origin. It does not really matter a lot. So you can just scroll, place it around here. And yeah, that is satisfactory. So once that's done, now let's link it to Dynamo. So simply navigate to Manage tab, go to the Visual Programming panel, click on Dynamo. So this is a software that really helps a lot when you're working with complex items and you want to come up with creative designs. So after it has launched, simply go to New. Under this, we navigate to Revit. So click on Revit under this library. Navigate to Revit. Under this tree that has opened, we're going to simply go to Selection, and under this tree we're going to simply target Select Model by Element. Simply left click once, and you have to make sure that you still have your Revit file open. So after clicking on this script will be added here, and we need to select the card that we want. So right now we have nothing selected, so you have to make sure that you have your Revit windows open. Click on Select, then click on the card. Right now we can see down here element, this code or this ID has been selected. So now let's bring in a new package. So to get your packages, simply go here and we're going to search for a package. So click on this And for the package that you want, so if you're not gone through the terms and condition, make sure you read them and accept if you're okay, or decline or if you're not okay. So for our case, I'll accept, and I want to search for this package. And for this case, the package that we are working with, it will be called Beam Orf. So it's basically this package that has been installed by so many people, and it was launched back in 14th October 2023. So click on install once. Are you sure you want to install this? Click on OK. If you're not sure, do not click on OK. But for my case, I'm okay. So I'll be clicking on OK to download this specific package. And once that's done, we can clearly see down here that it's downloading. So once that's done, I'm gonna simply close and navigate to where we have our add-on. So we can clearly see we have our add-on here. So just click on this once and this tree will be shown. Then click on this tree again, and then we're gonna be using this option. So for now we are working with CAD, but depending with what you want, if you want to work with Revit, results, curves, so on and so forth, you can select with the one that you want. But for our case, we want to work with curves from the CAD layers. So click on this once and it will be added here. So now let's create our string of connection between our script. So the element, we want to connect it to the import instance. So just click on element and then bring it now to the import instance. So you can either select to move your background, so you can click on this so that you don't see your preview, and we want to just zoom out so that we see this floor plan. It was quite far, so I am satisfied with this. Or you can just hold down your left mouse key so that you can be able to view it from top, and right now I'm satisfied with that. Or I can just move it slightly there, and then I can just view our scripts. So once that's done, now let's continue linking. So the next item required is the layer names. So where are we gonna get these things? So remember the layer names that we were working with from AutoCAD, those are the ones that we're gonna be adding here. So to do that, just simply right click here. We want to create a new script by the name of code block. So search code block. So this is the one that we want. Just click on this once and it will be added here. So we need to input the name of these specific layers for the walls. So to do that, we're gonna just simply jump back to AutoCAD. So I have AutoCAD here. I can simply launch this specific drawing. This is elevation. So I'll go back to start, click on the floor plan. And these are the layers that we have here. If you're not content, because we brought them from PDF, that's why they have the PDF_wall, you can just simply change the name and it will be updated because it's a linked drawing. So that's the good thing about working with linked. So just click on this, click again, and then just remove the PDF from there, then click away, and then you're gonna just simply close and then just save. So right now it will be reflected in all the other areas that we are running with. So in Revit, we're gonna just simply have it already responded. So now let's give the name of this. So use open quotations. So open quotes. So the name is wall. So let's now try to link it to the layer name if it's actually there. So try to connect to the layer name. So if it's refusing, then let's try to bring in the initial name that we're using, PDF_wall. Then let's click away, and just like that, we can see that it has not yet updated, but we'll be able to update it once we get to that level. So we can be able to select this so that we just align them. So click away, align to left, just like that, just to make things a bit tidy. So the next thing that we want to do, we want to see what is the results that we have from this. So I just want to select this so that I can move it from here. Maybe I can just place it here so that we can have a quick preview of the background. So we want to see what are the results that we have here. So just right click, key in watch from our selection, and then we just want to connect what is the output of the curves to what we are watching, and from here we'll be given this list. And currently we have a 3-layer list. So 3, 2, 1, and we have a total of 82 items within this list. So you can just simply zoom in to see that. And then the next script that we need, it's under Revit. So I can just simply close my add-ons and then navigate back to Revit. And then under Revit, we'll just simply go to Elements, and under Elements, we'll try to target. So let's simply navigate to Walls, because we want to bring in the walls and extrude them or create like a shell. And under this, we have various types of options. So right now we can be able to use either the curve and height, but we need to specify the height. But to make it a bit more accurate, and because you already have levels in Revit, let's use this curves and levels. So just click on it and it will be added here. So we need to link our output of this curve to the input of these levels. So let's connect what we have from watch to curve. And now let's come up with our levels. So to do this, simply right click, search on levels. So levels, so click on this, and then we can simply Control C, Control V to paste, so that we have these two levels. So we want to specify the start level. So this is level 0 for our case, and the finish level or the end level. So this is level 1. So now let's connect the output of that to the start, the output of that to the end, and now the wall type. So what wall type do we have from Revit? So now we can be able to specify the exact wall type that we have in our Revit software. Alright, so to know the type of walls that we have, we can just simply right click. Let's search for walls. We'll find this script for wall types. I'll just simply place it here. You can be able to select this and just right click here, align to left, just to make things a bit tidy. And back in Revit, so we still have Revit here. I can click on 3D so that we try to see what's happening in real time as we are working on this. The level that we have here is 4 meters. So let's just update this to 3 meters just to make sure that everything is still to standard. Right click, right, then go to maximize the 3D extents. The same with this, just right click and then maximize the 3D extents. So those I'm just doing to fine tune what we have here. It's not linked to this. So now let's finish it up. So the wall type, let's scroll and see what we have. We have the 300 concrete, but we can actually just create a new wall. So I'll just go back here, go to architecture, wall. Remember how to create our walls. So let's use this concrete as a base, edit type. We can just duplicate it. So this will just be a normal wall, 200, masonry. Then I'll click on OK. I'll change the type from retaining to exterior. Then I'll edit what we have in here. I'll specify 200. Then I'll use masonry with high density. So I'll select this, use render appearance, click on OK, click on OK, then click on OK. So we have created a new wall type here. So let's search for it here. So we have 200 masonry, select on this. Now let's feed it into this equation. So click on this, then connect it there. And just like that, you can simply see in the background, we have already finished all the levels or all the items that we are doing. So that's the way we do it. And what we can just do, we can just select everything here. So this is a warning because we have done the update, but now everything is all right. So what we do, we can just group this. I'll just simply zoom out slightly. Then I'll just select everything like that. So I'll just select this. If you don't want to see a preview, we can just hide the preview. Just click on this, then hide preview. Now it's hidden. So I just want to make sure things are cleaned up or orderly. So I can just move these things there, that one there, just to make sure that in the event that you're working on this in future, you'll be able to understand how things were organized. So I'll click on that, right click, align to left. Then I can create a group here. So Control G, and the name of this can be, so I'll double click to change the name, can be Revit input, something of the sort. And in the event that we were to change anything here, we need to update it also. So I'll just place this here, right click, I'll use the dash window, align to left, and I can just say this is, I can just create a new group here, maybe all these items under one group like that, and then I can just call it Dynamo. So this is important so that in future when we come to understand what's happening here, we can also just create a simple note if we wanted. We can be able to understand what was going on with this item. So right now I'm satisfied with this and I have no issue whatsoever. So it's just telling me what is the update. So this is the update and I'm satisfied with that. So after that, we can just simply save this specific Dynamo file by just Control S, and I'll save it to the specific folder that we are working on. So if I just click on close, nothing will happen, everything will be saved. The important thing that you need to understand is that because what Dynamo does, it uses the single line to extrude the wall, and right here we had two lines. So what I mean is that we had two lines for the wall, so it gives a double instant. So there's a wall here and another wall here. So to make it easier when using Dynamo, just use the center line as your wall so that you will remove the duplication of your walls. That's why they're double like this. So that's simply how we use Dynamo to transform our 2D element to a 3D element. So once satisfied, I can just simply close from this project, and I can show you that we can also export our 3D objects. Let's say I go to 3D of this structure and I hide this item. So I'll right click, hide by category, so that I hide all these items. So hide by category or element, then I'll select these levels. I'll maximize the 3D extent to make them standard. So what we can also do, we can be able to export this 3D item to Revit. And to do this is rather simple. I'll simply go to File. I'll simply go to Export. And under Export, I'll find the CAD format. I'll then go to DWG or DXF. I prefer using DWG. Then I'll specify what exactly I want. So I want only this 3D for now. I'll go to Next. There are so many options that you can change, but for now, I'll just work with that. So I'll save it in this specific folder for Revit 2024. And then you can specify either the long type or the short type of the name. So I'll go with the long type, and then you can specify the format. Is it 2018 or a lower version, depending with the software that you're using. And then you can either export the views and the sheets and the links as external references. So this is important just to link them. Then I'll click on OK. So once that's done, if I was to go to my AutoCAD software, I'll just simply go to Start, Control O to open a drawing, Revit 2024. I can click on this, I can click on Open. And just like that, now we can be able to export our 3D drawings now to Revit as 3D objects. So I can be able to orbit just like that, and I can see how our building looks like. So it looks really good. It looks really well. I can simply click on this perspective just to bring it in place. And if I was working in 3D, I'll just change my workspace to 3D modeling, and I can be able to have so many other options that will help me, such as creating sections and creating flat shots. I can be able to work from here and also apply materials. So that's simply how we do it. That's the way we transform our 2D elements to our 3D, and also move from 3D Revit objects to AutoCAD. So I've taken you through also how to use Dynamo and how to ensure that everything is all right, especially also the scale and making sure things are okay.
So that was all about importing AutoCAD 2D drawing into Revit and making a 3D model from it. If Revit is new to you, then I'd like to once again mention the Revit Architecture Essentials course that you should definitely check. It is free and you can sign up for it using the link mentioned in the description of this video and also in the pinned comment. Also, let me know which topic you want us to cover next in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon in the next one.